awesome. Well, thank you so much for showing me around this
Certainly.
beautiful salon.
Certainly.
I do actually love that when you sit in here, it really feels like a living room to me. It really feels like I'm at your home and we're about to have like fancy tea or something really nice. Is this what your home looks like?
No.
It's not?
It's not.
What's your style like at home?
Well, it's very much my style, if that makes sense. But depending on which personality you get from me that day, depends on what room you're like in.
Are there different energies in, like the way that there's a different energy in the different rooms here? Is that how your house is?
No, my house is pretty calm.
Is it? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
pretty. I mean, because I deal with so many different personalities during the day, and so many different colors, and so many different versions of what one may or may not look like.
Right.
I wanted my home to be very calm and very peaceful. So
you are very connected, I feel like, with who you are and what you need. Have you always been like that, or is this like a new thing that you figured out about yourself?
You know, it's innate, I think.
Okay.
It's innate. I've always, I hate to use the cliche march to my own drum, because I think, you know, that's what people say, but it's sort of true. You know, I've never taken really a traditional path to get to any place that I've ever gotten in my life.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. Well, I'm so excited to talk to you about your journey. So speaking of how you kind of get from one place to another, tell me about your beauty school story. So where were you when you realized that you needed and wanted to go to beauty school? What point in your life did that happen? What age was that?
I was in college.
Okay.
And
like traditional college?
Yes.
Okay, so where were you going?
Where didn't I go would be a better question. I did really well in high school.
Okay.
And because you do really well in high school, the thing you do is you go to college.
Yes.
And that's just the next logical step that, you know, one takes. And I just kept going from college to college and jumping from major to major to find something that just really sort of resonated with me on the inside. I was having a difficult time doing it. And I'd always cut my family's hair from the time I was a 10-year-old.
Okay.
And literally, a 10-year-old convinced an adult to let them cut their hair. Sure, it was not good, but you know, I did that, and I was in class one day, and we were discussing some topic that I had zero interest in, and I just said, you know what, this is not for me, and I got up and left. And then I called TSB the next day.
Okay.
The next week, I was in for a tour.
That's awesome.
And
do you remember,
so,
did you talk to George or Adam?
I talked to George Samsel.
Okay.
And I had my little list of like 20 questions for George. And if you talk to George, he will tell you that I interviewed him. Because I wanted to know that what I was signing up for was going to offer me something that was of interest to me, something that would push me and something that would make me grow.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any interest in spinning my wheels or staying in one spot. That's an uncomfortable place for me.
Yeah.
It's just staying in one spot.
Right. And so you were what, like 20-ish?
No, I was like 24.
Okay. Yeah. So were you kind of one of like the more mature students in your class?
Oh, yeah.
Like what was your class like?
For sure. You know, the thing is, I still work with one of my classmates that we started. She's here today, yes.
We call it beauty school besties. I coined the phrase when I started, and that is what I'm like.
She is mother here. I'm dad, and she's mother. And to this day, still, I have so many friends that were in my class that are still in the industry that I still talk to on a regular.
So great.
So, you know, you look around in your beauty school class and those people are going to follow you for the rest of your career, which is lovely.
Yeah, it's so great because you have that support in kind of a different way. So tell me about what you knew about beauty school before you came into Tennessee School of Beauty. What was your expectation of, you know, what that was going to be like, what that experience was going to be like, or what the school would look like, or what expectations did you have in mind?
I didn't know what to expect exactly. I was frightened and I was insecure about going because my mother, as I mentioned before, my mom would always take it to the beauty shop, and she would always judge whether the stylist that was going to do her hair was going to do a good job or not by looking at her hair.
Yes.
And she would always say, if the stylist's hair didn't look good, then your hair's not going to look good.
Yeah.
And well, I lost my hair at 17. So I went in as a young adult looking like I do right now. And so I was very, very intimidated about walking in with no hair.
Yeah.
That was my big fear of the day.
Wow.
And soon got over that.
Yeah.
But that was just something that my mom had ingrained in me. And I didn't know what to expect. It was a great experience, really, from the get-go. George put me at ease. He answered all my questions with ease. He didn't have to conjure up answers or, spin a tail or something or other. He had the answers down. He knew what the answers were to those questions, which made me feel really, really good about, the path that I was contemplating.
Yeah.
And then we did a tour and we saw all the other students and they were all working and they were smiling and I thought, you know what, I'm going to be okay. This is going to work out for me. And that was sort of my first experience with beauty school, really.
So then you made the decision when you, left there, you probably were having those butterflies that you get in your stomach of like, okay, I'm doing this. Did it seem more real after you came in?
Yeah. Once I saw everyone there, any anxieties that I had left.
That's awesome. And then what did your family say? Were they surprised? Were they supportive? What was their response?
I don't think it's, I think it's a difficult thing for parents to hear I'm quitting college to go to beauty school. And that's what I did. But, in the end, by the time they saw that I was going to succeed, then it was okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest conversations that students have to have. I think that it hasn't changed very much since
I'm sure not, yeah.
Still,
I'm sure not.
Most students are really pushed into that traditional college role. Coming into this industry is definitely, I think, a lot more supported than maybe it used to be. I think now people understand that hairdressers can make money and it's an actual career and all of that.
Sure.
So I think it's a little more understood, but it also is still really hard. We have students that will come in and they're like sneaking their tour. Like they haven't even told their parents yet that they're coming in. And, we just try to encourage them and say, no, like you need to have a voice. This is your life, like your future. If this is, if you should be in this industry, you think you should be in this industry, then you need to do it, and trying to have that. But I always feel awful when they leave because I'm like, oh, I know what they're about to have to go through. And it's not easy. So
it's not, no.
So you went to Tennessee School of Beauty. So you graduate beauty school and you go into a salon where you worked for how many years?
13 years.
Oh my goodness. So you were like in one place for a long time. So
I've had 2 jobs in the industry.
That's incredible. So just that one and this?
There and here, yeah.
That's awesome. So at what point did you realize that you were going to be able to open your own salon or that you kind of wanted to go out on your own? When did those thoughts kind of start happening?
Not for a while. For the longest time I was push, learn, do, and that worked for me for quite a long time. And you're with people that my coworkers a lot I went to beauty school with, so it was that beauty school family sort of transitioned to me or with me, I guess just to say, into my workplace.
Yeah.
And it was a great place to be for a very long time. And then something switched when I felt like I had done as many clients as I could do during the day, and I had taken as many classes as I could do that I could learn from. I mean, you can always continue to learn. I don't want to seem that way, but I'd sort of seen it and done it, and I don't like, again, sitting in one place for very long and spinning my wheels. So when I felt like I was beginning to do that, that's when the itch for me first started. And I thought, the only way I'm going to ever learn more or push myself to be more than what I am today would be to take the leap and venture out onto my own.
Yeah. Well, clearly it was a good decision. Still happy with your decision?
Yes, very much so.
Good. Well, I think that finding your salon home is something that a lot of our students, as soon as they graduate, it's a tough decision.
It's very important,
to make.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard because I think a lot of the students, luckily here in Knoxville, Tennessee, they have a lot of options of really good salons to go into. So that's such a positive, but it almost makes it a little hard to decide where. What kinds of things do you recommend for a student that's recently graduated to look for in their salon home? Like if somebody's interested in coming here, what kinds of things would you want them to kind of know, or what qualities would you like them to have or be preparing for before they even come in to interview? Sure.
The first thing I think they should do is, on the slide, on the DL, book a blow dry in each of the places that they're thinking about going.
Okay.
They can go in as a client. They don't have to tell them they're in beauty school, anything as such, but they can see how the salon functions without any pretense about it. They can see how they're checked in at the front desk. They can see how the stylist relates to them when they're doing their hair. And a blow dry is not a cut or a color. It's a temporary thing, so you're not going to get totally messed up. Yeah. Hopefully. Yes. So go undercover and do your research. As far as what I'm looking for, I have really just a handful of things that I'm looking for. You have to have a work ethic like no one else. Don't be afraid to do what no one else would do. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid to stay later, come in earlier if need be.
Yeah.
You don't always have to, but don't be afraid to do it.
Right.
And then you have to be a good person. We have the policy here that if you're that person that stays in the break room and constantly keeps the pot stirring or creates unrest or havoc, then God love you, but you just can't work here.
Yeah.
So those are my really 2 rules that I have.
Yeah. They seem like very simple rules.
Don't they?
Seems easy. I know that can be a challenge, especially for something that's coming into the industry new. I do think that there is a transitional period between beauty school and being a full-on stylist. I think a lot of students, because you're kind of big man on campus when for the last 2 months you're in beauty school. Like,
oh, sure.
You've learned everything, you know everything now.
I'm good.
Yes, and then
Good.
you come into a salon, and it can sometimes hit some students a little hard when it's like, nope, this is real world now. Like, this is what you've been preparing for, and you've got to take that ego back a little bit. And I think that that's something that I think stylists really need to be aware of, or that students coming into the industry really need to be aware of, is just kind of sit back for a little bit. I mean, definitely like observe. You don't have to come in this full force of, I'm here, I'm ready to work, I'm ready to take clients. Just kind of sit back and learn for a little bit. Even though they're excited to run, I know that that's probably something that you deal with a lot with your assistants, is just kind of keeping them on track, because you don't want to discourage them. You want them to keep their excitement, but also like over time. So what advice do you have for a beauty school student that is coming into a salon new? What advice can you give them? Well,
first, I was in that same situation. I knew in my heart of hearts, coming out of beauty school, that I could blow dry a beautiful head of hair. And the result did look good. The roadmap that I took to get there was not good.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing at all. I would turn the dryer off, sit it down, section it piece out, pick my brush back up, pick my blow dryer up, and it took me a very long time to do, and I had an excellent teacher who has her own salon now, Deanna Cleaner.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, no, this is not how we do things here. And she basically took the dryer out of my hand, and she took the brush out of my hand, and she basically held my hands while I did it, and I'm like, okay, now I know I don't know, and I can move forward.
Good, yeah.
As far as advice, what you were saying, do take a step back. Be always eager to learn, and admit, or somehow or another come to terms in yourself that you don't know everything. I don't, for sure. I learn on a daily basis having your own business. So, just take a step back, take a breathe, take a breath, and everything's gonna be fine.
So you are 15 years into the industry-ish?
20.
Right? Oh, 20 years in the industry. Sorry, I'm really good at math. I don't know if you caught on to that, but real good if you need any help.
21 now. 21.
Okay, so 21 years into the industry. Obviously, you have grown and evolved in that time. You're a salon owner now. So talk to me about what your role is here. How often are you behind the chair? How often are you owner hat on?
In the beginning, I was behind the chair every day.
Okay.
And, I've been very open about when I first opened my salon, I didn't take a paycheck home for the longest time. Even though I was working behind the chair every single day, thankfully all day long. I had built up a very good clientele of honestly some of the best women in Knoxville, in my opinion. The kindest, most gentle souls that followed me. Here, and many of them to this day are still here.
So amazing.
That was every day, all day. And then I started taking one day off a week, which is Wednesdays, and I would work in the office.
Okay.
That evolved to not being able to get anything done on Wednesdays. So then I worked from home, which helped tremendously.
Oh, yeah. So you were already on the work from home train before COVID, way before quarantine. You were already on it.
Yeah, and then 1 year ago, 20 years to the day, to the weekend, because I started beauty school on Easter weekend.
Oh, okay.
And I got to the point where we were busy enough, and where there was so many balls in the air and spinning so many plates that I knew I had to make a choice of whether I was going to hire someone to help me run things or hire someone to take my place behind a chair. So a year ago, I stepped out from behind a chair.
Okay, completely. Okay, tell me about what this year has been. I mean, other than the global pandemic,
right?
How has the last year been? I mean, how did you make that decision first?
That was scary.
What did it come down to?
That was scary because it's literally how you make your living, you know, and
your craft. I mean, I think that's specific to, well, cosmetologists or any trade, I guess. I mean,
sure.
That's your money maker. For, you know, but
don't break the hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't break the hands. Yeah.
So that had to have been so challenging.
It was probably one of the biggest decisions, professional-wise, that I've ever made. Right up there with opening my own salon, because you know, as an owner, you sort of set the tone. You whether you like it or not, everything trickles down from you. So, you know, for me not to have that platform anymore was a little bit daunting, a little bit scary. You know, also on the other side of it too, there's a huge emotional connection I have with some of the people that I've worked on for 20 years, you know, so thankfully I still get to talk to them. But it was to the point where I was becoming stressed to where, you know, I was like, okay, I have to choose. It was time for me to choose.
Yeah, you're just juggling a lot, and it's hard to do both.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like you made the right choice?
I do.
Year
yeah.
in, I mean, I guess it's been some time has passed, so you feel like you're good. So, do you ever like play with mannequins at all? Ever? Like,
yes.
Do you ever get your hands in hair still?
Yes, I do, and you know, I'll teach.
Okay.
And then I will get wrangled into doing employee hair.
Okay.
and whatnot. So I definitely, you know, definitely still do something.
So that's the plan for the next little bit, is you're going to be running this business. And so what has changed? What have you taken on that maybe you weren't, or you just now you're not juggling clients while taking?
Now I'm not doing it at night. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You know, before I was working during the day, and then doing all the necessary things at night.
Yeah.
And it just became a point where, you know, too much of my life was on one plate.
Right.
And I need to separate it up a smidge.
Yeah.
So I'm still doing all the same things minus the hair. It's just now I'm doing it at work.
Yeah. How has the staff received that? Are they?
They're very happy they have my clients now.
Okay, good. They're like, oh, we love them. Thank you for sharing.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what has changed within the business? Has anything changed in the business?
You know,
with you doing this?
I was so afraid that it would, and thankfully it hasn't. You know, because I spent 6 years, you know, helping train people, and you know what? They picked it up without a beat and just moved right on, and I could not be happier or prouder of them.
I love that. It says a lot about your team. I think that's one thing that is sometimes hard. I think a lot of people, salon owners that are also stylists, you know, it's juggling, and it's just kind of hard to keep those, I don't know, the relationships and the classes and all of that. I bet you are able to give a lot more attention to your team. So they're probably seeing like a closer relationship with you as well, because you're not behind the chair. You're
exactly. I'm accessible now.
In the industry right now, or just even kind of in general in your life, who is inspiring you right now?
You know, I have so many bits and bobs that I take inspiration from, and to me, in my crazy little mind, it always works out to become one picture.
Okay.
So I will pull, you know, an inspiration from, like for instance, we love to shoot our own advertisement here. So our photo shoots and whatnot, we try to shoot in-house.
Love.
And we always use our own clients.
Oh my
we don't use any models or whatnot.
Such a great idea, because your clients probably love that.
They love it. They get their own headshots. But also too, it's an accurate and true representation of who we are and what we do, is what our work is. So those are smattered along the walls here from place to place, not these guys.
Yeah. I just looked up, I was like, wait, that's not one of them.
But you know, I'll take an inspiration from an old movie, or from a piece of architecture, or from another stylist, or you know, someone brand new that just started. They will tell me like a little tidbit of information that just makes me, you know, have a little trickle to something else, and that leads to something else and something else. So it's breadcrumbs for me.
Okay.
It really is.
I love that. Well, I like the way that it all comes together in you. I'm so excited that we got to talk today.
It's been my pleasure. I love having you guys.
My day, and I never want to leave here. Like, it's just
hang out.
So beautiful. I'll just be here on the couch for the next few hours, greeting everyone as they come in.
It's my favorite job, door greeter. In all seriousness.
Wait, is that what you've been doing? Have you been saying that you're running a salon now? Are you just opening the doors?
I love to say, come in, welcome, thanks for coming in. That's my favorite
Do
job.
most people know you're the owner though,
No.
or do they think you're some random guy opening
They
the door
just think
for
I'm some
them?
rando dude.
That's so great though. Do you kind of love that?
I do.
I know, it's kind of like, oh, I'm sneaking this in. Like, you don't know who I am.
I do.
I like it.
Like clients will come through, and especially the ones that are new from over the past year that did not see me do hair.
Right.
I'll walk through and they're like, who's that dude? You know, they're like, oh, he's no one.
You don't need to know.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. I
My
wish
pleasure.
you all the luck. I can't wait to follow up with how it's going with you as being just the owner now. It's crazy.
It's weird.
I love it.
But good.
Well, good luck with everything. We're so excited.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.